Hello and welcome to Grizzly's video, Fine-Tuning a Joiner with Dovetail Slides. My name is Kent and this is one in a series of how-to videos that we're producing, making it easier for our customers to upgrade and maintain their Grizzly equipment. This is Sean, an engineer here at Grizzly. Together we'll show you step by step how to properly check and correct any table parallelism problems with your Dovetail style joiner. We're using the Grizzly G0654 6-inch Dovetail style joiner, but the procedure is essentially the same for the majority of Dovetail style joiners out there. This video is designed to give you an overview of the procedure and to help you visualize the process. It should be used in conjunction with the written instructions that came with your joiner, and we recommend that before you start, you read and become familiar with your owner's manual in its entirety, including all safety instructions. You can also call our technical support at 570-546-9663 if you need further assistance. But most important, remember to follow all shop safety procedures, and remember, there are no more important safety devices than these. Always start by unplugging the machine from the power source. To check parallelism over the length of both tables, you'll need a good quality straight edge at least 3/4 the length of both tables and a set of feeler gauges. Let's start by checking the parallelism between the cutter head and the infeed table. This can be done by using a dial indicator, or if you don't have one, use a straight edge and feeler gauge. Place the straight edge on the table so it hangs over the cutter head. When using a straight edge, it's imperative that you keep it perfectly upright and square to the table. We have made a simple wood block with a slot in it to hold the straight edge and free up your hands. Using the feeler gauges, measure the distance between the body of the cutter head itself and straight edge at each end of the cutter head. If you're out of parallel more than 3/1000ths of an inch, this can be corrected by shimming between the bearing blocks and the mount that they sit in. You can make shims by cutting up a soda can. The thickness of soda can aluminum material is usually 2/1000ths of an inch thick. However, the easiest way to get shims is to purchase an inexpensive set of feeler gauges and use the leaves from that set as shims, as they are already specific thicknesses and cut to the right width. To shim, loosen the nuts between the base and the stand several turns. This nut is for loosening the cutter head block. You'll need to slightly lift one side of the cutter head bearing block in order to place shims in between and tighten the nut. Recheck the cutter head and, if necessary, add or subtract the thickness of shims until the parallelism is within 3/1000ths of an inch. After you are all done shimming, retighten the cutter head. Now that the cutter head and the infeed table are satisfactory, let's see how close the infeed and outfeed tables are. Raise the tables so that they are above the cutter head. Some joiners will have a stop bolt on one or both tables that will need to be adjusted to allow tables to be raised above the cutter head. Place the straight edge on the infeed table and adjust the height of the outfeed until it touches the bottom of the straight edge. Keep in mind that if the table isn't perfectly parallel, either end of the outfeed table may contact the straight edge first. Adjust the table until it just touches and measure any gap with feeler gauges. Now that you've determined that you have error and you know how much, fixing it is relatively easy. You will need to add shims between the dovetails and the base casting. Since the infeed table is frequently moved for depth of cut adjustments, always shim the outfeed table. Remember, a little bit of shim here makes a lot of difference at the end of the table. Loosen the gib enough that the table can be separated slightly from the base and add thin shims equally to each side until the table is parallel to the straight edge. It's best to start with 5/1000ths of an inch and work up from there in 5/1000ths of an inch increments until you get close. Remember to lock the table movement each time you recheck parallelism. Once you're satisfied with your adjustments, set the outfeed table level with the top of the knives. Lightly snug the table gib set screws and go make some sawdust.